Hi, this is Maria Williams. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this tag for a bottle using my Cheerful Tags Thinlits and the coordinating products from my August 2016 Paper Pumpkin Kit. Here are the supplies I'm going to be using today. I'm using one of the card bases and one of the little gift card holders, as well as the punched out circle. I'm going to use the stamp set that came with the kit. I love this stamp set. I have some totally different cards that I made posted on my blog. I'm going to use the Hello sentiment for this particular bottle tag. Here are the embellishments. I'm going to use one of the flowers, some brown twine, and the early espresso ink spot. I'm also going to be using the Cheerful Tags Thinlits. I'm going to use the bottle tag as well as that small detail die. The Cheerful Tags Thinlits have a coordinating stamp set that's called Here's to Cheers that has some great sentiments on it. But for today's project, I'm just using, as I said, the stamp set that came with the kit. I'm taking the tag Thinlit and I'm going to cut it out of the card base, and then I'm taking the little detail die and I'm going to cut it out of the gift card holder. So I'm going to grab my Big Shot and I'll be right back. To cut out the detail die from the gift card holder piece, I am using my precision plate, and I am not using it correctly. You're actually supposed to have the black side of the plate facing up. It did cut out perfectly fine, but I just want you to know that is not the right way to do it. And then I'm switching over to a regular clear plate to cut the other Thinlit out. The reason for this is that if you have a Thinlit that doesn't have a whole lot of surface area that it's cutting out, using the precision plate can bend the die. So whenever you are using, like I said, a Thinlit that isn't cutting a whole lot of solid area, you want to use a regular clear plate instead of the precision plate. To remove all the little bits and pieces from my detailed die cut, I'm using the Big Shot die brush with the little pad. It is definitely not necessary, but it sure helps a lot. Look how clean this came out. Now that my pieces are all cut out, I'm going to move on to stamping. So I'm opening up my ink spot and inking up the stamp by putting the stamp on my tabletop and then tapping the ink pad on it. I find it easier to ink my stamps up this way when I'm using ink spots. And because this was a new stamp, I probably should have stamped on a separate piece of paper first, just to prep the stamp. So my impression is a little bit light, but I decided to go with it. I think it looks fine. And now I'm going to continue assembling the tag. I'm going to use the fine tip glue pen to add some glue to the back of the detail die. Had I thought about it ahead of time, I would have added some double-sided adhesive to my paper before I ran it through the Big Shot so that it would already have adhesive on it. But my next best option, I feel like, is this fine tip glue pen. I'm going to place this die cut onto the tag, and just to make sure that it adheres properly, I'm going to place one of my acrylic blocks on top and give it a few seconds to dry. To add a little dimension, I'm putting some dimensionals on the back of my sentiment circle, and I'm just going to place that directly over the detailed die cut. Now it's time to add some embellishments. I'm going to use the ribbon, the burlap ribbon from the kit, and the die already cut the notches for the ribbon to go through. So I'm just kind of measuring to see how much ribbon I'm going to need. And then I'm just going to cut it with some nice sharp scissors. As you can see, my burlap ribbon has some folds in it that are not going to look great when I feed the ribbon through. So what I'm going to do is grab some alcohol and spritz it onto the ribbon and then smooth out the ribbon. You could do this with water as well, but the water will take longer to dry. So whenever you're trying to straighten out some ribbon and take out some of the kinks in it, I recommend using a little bit of alcohol. Test it in a little area first to make sure that the color of the ribbon is not going to run, but just spritz a little bit in those areas you're trying to straighten and then just pull it straight. You could also wrap it around something round, but as you'll see here, it did take a little bit of work because the burlap has very stiff fibers, but it did straighten out the ribbon enough that it looked good when I wrapped it around the bottle. To feed the ribbon through the slots, I'm just putting the two ends together, and then I'm going to grab the bottle and wrap it around to make sure that I have it pulled as tight as it needs to be. And then I'm going to flip the tag over, and I'm going to use some of the glue dots that are included in the kit to secure the ribbon. I keep my nails really short, so sometimes I have to enlist the help of my paper piercer to remove the backers on the glue dots. With the ribbon secured to the tag, I'm once again putting the two ends together and feeding them through the little slot. And then I'm going to put it around the bottle one more time and cut the ends with some really sharp scissors so that I get a nice clean cut. I'm going to add one more thing to my tag. I'm going to take one of the wooden flowers and some of the brown twine. I'm going to wrap the twine around a couple of fingers to create some loops, cut that off, and then I'm going to use a glue dot to secure that to the sentiment circle. And finally, take some multi-purpose glue, put a little blob of that in the middle of the twine, and place the wooden element on top. I'm going to mess around with the loops just a little bit to make sure that they are going to set up the way I want them, and press the flower back in place and then give it a couple minutes to dry. I decided I wanted the ribbon ends to be a little bit shorter, so I'm just grabbing my scissors again and trimming them down a little bit, and now the tag is complete. I hope you have enjoyed this video and seeing how quickly and easily you can create projects with the paper pumpkin kits, and I hope to make many more tags with my Cheerful Tags Thinlits. If you would like to see more pictures or purchase any of the products used in this video, please visit my blog at mariascardsandmore.com. Thanks for watching!